these are my students, Jordyn Platt and Erin Dempsey, and another one of my students, Hannah Finley, spent all of last semester coding narratives on forgiveness, trying to figure out when people forgive and why they forgive, and so they are going to give a talk about that today.
Like she said, my name is Jordyn Platt, and we are studying when are people glad versus upset with themselves for forgiving. Our background, the way we define it, like call off and argument and endorsement. Forgiveness as intra-individual pro-social change toward a perceived transgressor that is situated within a specific interpersonal context. However, few authors have looked at instances where forgiveness backfires and the forgiver ends up angry or upset with themselves for forgiving a transgressor. Our current study sought to further examine the differences between the types of situations and outcomes that influence someone to be glad for themselves or upset for the forgiving of others. The way we set this up, we had 508 university participants. One of the schools were University of Kentucky, 179 participants were from that school, and 329 was from JSU. 30.3 were identified as male, while 66.5 were female, and 3.1 were unidentified. Our methods, we had the students either go online or, well, Kentucky, they used paper during class. Participants wrote a narrative about the time they forgave someone. They were specified if they how upset a situation, or if they had a there were two prompts: upset that they forgave the person, glad they forgave the person, or the major incident or minor incident. They were all mixed in to tell us different stories of their lives. The participants were asked to recall a specific type of emotional experience that happened to them as clearly as they can. Each participant were asked to think of and describe a situation in which they forgave someone for something either major or minor, and if they were later upset or glad with that forgiving person. They were then asked how did the situation get resolved, and later glad or upset that they forgave the person. And to get the participants' opinion on the idea of forgiveness, they were asked if it was beneficial, why was it beneficial or not beneficial, what kind of specific situation they thought considered not to forgive another person, like murder, rape, anything they thought that was against their ideals. What principles or underlying values, like religion, personal values, if they followed their family values, personal experience, etc. Our top three for our reasons was person had a bad attitude, was rude, treated them unkindly, adultery, affairs, and stated other reasons. Our example for this was, I honestly can't remember a time when I regretted forgiving someone. I forgave my friend for breaking my fishing pole. So later I was mad, forgave him because he broke another one that I borrowed. Let's see, and I'm not going to get mad to the point someone needs to forgive minor. It takes a lot to make me mad. Well, I take that back. If someone cuts me off while driving, I'm always happy to forgive them versus running them off the road. So we have different ones. There was another one that there was a time when I was around 14 or 15 years old where I was dating a guy and he cheated on me. I decided to forgive him because I thought at the time that I was in love. And he could start walking all over me, continuing to treat me. Of course, I got back with him after forgiving him.
So the top 3 reasons that people, or the top 3 ways that people resolved their conflict with the transgressors were either that they talked things over, as tends to be best, decided not to hold a grudge, or that the other perpetrator, or the other person, or the one describing apologized. Some people just apologized, others talked things over. An example of this was, I soon realized that it was for the greater good that the teeth were knocked out. Or I really didn't want something stupid ruining our friendship, and therefore I decided it would be better to put this matter behind us and forgive her. So that was a lot of the examples, well, maybe not the teeth. So our top reasons that people were glad that they forgave someone was that they became a closer relationship, or loved the person, and the relationship became stronger because of it. The top reason people were upset is when they forgave someone and then the person did it again. Examples of these two were without forgiveness or relationship with the person who has wronged us will forever be defined by this event and will always dwell on. Or, yes, I was glad. I have always been taught to forgive and would have wanted to be forgiven too. I was upset because he cheated again, and my forgiveness meant nothing to him. And so a lot of the reasons that people gave for whether forgiveness was beneficial or not, most people actually put positive things if they were willing to forgive in the first place. People said that that it allows you to move on, that it brings closure, or forgive and forget in the case of people that never talk to each other again. The second reason where they became a stronger person, or the relationship was strengthened, or that's what forgiveness does. Examples, beneficial because if you don't forgive someone, the anger and hurt just builds up in you, and it can make you miserable. Or forgiveness is beneficial because it helps your relationship be stronger, but it is not beneficial in that it can sometimes guide someone to hold a grudge. And so those are the top 2 reasons that people gave for why forgiveness is useful. It actually changed. People also submitted reasons that you shouldn't forgive someone or situations, and the top 3 were fairly predictable. Intentional harm or violence against someone you love, murder, or sexual assault or rape. Examples of these included killing someone you love, or a child or family member. Maybe you should forgive them, but I never could. Or, yes, something like rape and murder should never be forgiven. This was a fairly consistently held belief if they answered this question. So people also gave the reasons or the basis behind their opinions, or the reasons that they gave, the top 3 being religious, personal values, or personal experience. Fairly predictable considering the regions that we drew our survey from. But I was honestly impressed that so many people had personal values. In the future, we plan to, or we'll be trying to examine specific instances where forgiveness made the relationship better or worse, in addition to whether gender and type of relationship affected the forgiveness process. Do you want to talk more about this one?
I think next semester we'll start looking more into that. We are still going to study more about this before our conference in April. So we're willing to keep analyzing to see what we can figure it out. Any questions?
Okay, so the title of your presentation, when are people glad versus upset with themselves for forgiving? If someone is upset with themselves for forgiving, did they truly forgive?
Most of the ones that I've seen, they forgave them, and then later on, it happened again. That's what our most recent discovery happened in our analysis. So a lot of people said they did forgive them and it strengthened their relationship, but a lot of them also said the person did it again, like they cheated on them or they took drugs, something along that
So
line.
at the time, they weren't okay with forgiving, but it was later.
Yeah, because the forgiveness wasn't taken seriously by the other party. And so they regretted being, I suppose, so soft on them or for forgiving them when they didn't take that to mean much. Any other questions?
Okay, this is such a difficult question, I'm not even sure I know how to ask it, but as you were gathering your data, and I doubt this is something you were measuring for specifically, but to what degree, if at all, does intent play into this? Like, as far as the transgression goes, the initial thing, was it more, did it make a difference if it was misfeasance, like simply screwing up, like with a fishing pole, or, you know, breaking something, or malfeasance, which is like a deliberate act, like a betrayal or something like that? Is that a variable that would affect your findings? And what do you think?
I think that we didn't have many people have break things, but it was a small percentage.
Well, it's just like screwing up an accident, not something not intended to do as opposed to cheating on somebody, which would be intent.
Most of the ones that were accidents were on the positive side because they were happy that they forgave, where the relationship was strengthened because they talked it out. Most of the purposeful ones was actually usually the cheating ones probably. And those were
We did separate it between the minor and the major. That way we can tell which one was more affected and how the forgiveness was dealt with. Our minor was like the fishing pole. That was one of our minor ones. And then the major ones was more of the cheating and doing drugs and all that.
I think it's an important thing to assess. The one thing that we found was the paper ones from Kentucky, they wrote a lot less, and it was very hard to code those. That's one thing Jordyn really noticed early on, was she was like, why did they write so little bit? And I said, because it was in class, whereas in the ones at JSU were online, and some people wrote like pages about it, and so intention would be much easier to look at in those ones. The Kentucky ones would be much harder because they're so much shorter. But I think it would be, we would need to ask them like a specific question to assess whether or not they perceived his intention, because sometimes it was hard to figure out their thought process.
A couple of them were actually the people themselves that were writing the survey doing something, and then somehow forgiving the other person, or sometimes sort of themselves in a way. So even that was, would have changed that question a little bit, because sometimes it wasn't the other party that was wholly at fault.